Welcome to Conservation Country. I'm your host, Gabriella Hoffman. In this series, we travel the nation to highlight conservation in action. This episode, we're in Oklahoma to investigate more controversial wind projects. Although the U.S. is deprioritizing wind energy, states like Oklahoma can't quit this part-time source. The eastern portion of the state is being targeted for new projects despite widespread opposition from residents. Join me as I investigate the situation here. Our journey begins at Oklahoma Donkey Dairy, a farm owned by Sandra and Walt Trawick in Luther, Oklahoma. They raise American Mammoth jackstock donkeys, a large breed that President George Washington is credited with developing. Not only are these creatures massive, their milk has innumerable health benefits. Videographer Madison Hughes and I were in for a treat here.
Donkey milk taste test.
Woo! Let's cheers. Oh wow.
It's very pure.
Unique. Eastern Oklahoma is renowned for its hills, wide open spaces, and pioneering spirit. Part of historic Route 66, the Mother Road, also runs through here. Onshore wind projects already blanket the western portion of the state and provide about 41% of net electricity generation after natural gas. Despite this, wind is a part-time energy source with many environmental drawbacks. I spoke to several concerned citizens, namely from Lincoln and Craig counties, about their opposition to wind industrialization heading east.
A lot of farmland, a lot of beautiful land out there, and I think one of the big things is they don't want to see their land turn industrial with just windmills spread everywhere.
I saw some citizens talking about it, calling meetings and just trying to bring attention to it, and it really blew my mind that wind energy was looking at our area. I just, we have so many trees and the landscape is just not really set up for the wind tower, so I was a little surprised by that. What we decided we wanted to do was set up some height restrictions, set up some setback restrictions, and set up some perimeters on where they could be located.
My name's Thomas Holmes, and I have lived here in Lincoln County for 25 years. I live on the farm that my grandmother grew up on. It's been in our family since 1919, and I am passionate about taking care of this place and our farm, and the invasion of wind or solar or any of those type things, something that I will fight with forever.
We first heard about the industrial wind projects in our county because a neighbor had shared our information with a wind company representative. And essentially they were going door to door and saying, hey, we have this opportunity for you to diversify and be able to add a wind farm onto your rural agricultural land. And essentially be able to make money in a new way. My husband wanted to hear them out, and so I was willing to visit with them. And so we sat down and had a conversation, listened to what they had to offer, but I knew from the very beginning in my heart of hearts that this was not in the best interest of the safety and health of my children, of our livestock, of our soil, of our water sources. And so I would never allow it as the keeper of my home and as the protector of our property.
For me, the health component is the biggest issue. You know, everyone says, it's my property rights. I can do whatever I want on my property to make money. Well, you can't do something on your property that impacts your neighbors, that contaminates the land, that hurts my health.
I'm an engineer, I'm retired. I have been looking high and low all over the internet for the safety manual for the wind turbines. They don't exist, they hide them. And it's the deceit of the wind industry that really bothers me terribly. On page 46 of the manual that's provided by Nordex wind manufacturer, there can be life-threatening injuries due to lightning strikes. This is the manual that they give to the people who install the wind turbines and also those who do the maintenance. Right here on the next page, 47 of the manual, it says, move away from the wind turbine approximately 1 kilometer. Well, that's 3,280 feet.
The turbines that are proposed in our area are around 700 foot total, and they are that high for a reason. We do not have great wind here. Look at this beautiful weather today. There is no wind, there's no issues for the camera, there's no issues for taking video, because this is not a good location to put a wind turbine. So what did they do? They made them higher.
One of the other issues when I was helping fight this in Kansas, I was doing all this research about all of this, so there is the infrasound component. And infrasound is very real, and it is impacting people and harming people. There's also shadow flicker. So when we're talking about a 750-foot tall wind turbine, the shadow that's cast from that is incredibly long as the sun sets. We've dealt with that this morning. The sun and the shadow it's casting, it goes a long way. So that shadow creates a strobe light effect. And in Kansas, they were even telling me that one of these companies actually told a family whose child had a seizure disorder that they just needed to keep them in the basement. Yeah, awful. This is your home. You should not be impacted by someone else's greed.
Councilmember, talk about the integrity of the region and what would be lost if wind industrialization were to proceed.
I think that what would be lost is our quality of life, primarily. Maybe our safety. People live in Oklahoma so that they can get back to the basics a little bit and live a happy life. A lot of people just want to live in the country and they just want to be left alone, honestly.
Conservation Country's wind energy investigations have several recurring themes. These projects, regardless of geography, are costly, unreliable, and opposed by most residents. Yet, even in deep red Oklahoma, powerful politicians have bought into big wind's false promises. Representative Jim Shaw is a leading elected official fighting wind industrialization in eastern Oklahoma. He won his seat in the Oklahoma House of Representatives, running on a campaign opposing wind energy projects.
One of the biggest reasons why I decided to get into the campaign 2 years ago to even run for this office was because an industrial wind project was being proposed about 2 miles north of my home and property. And not only have I been in oil and gas my entire career, but this is intended to be a generational farm and ranch for my daughters when they grow up, and we did not move out there and make this investment and desire this kind of lifestyle to look at 100 wind turbines a few miles away from our home and property. So this is very personal for me and my family, but also for my community. This industry does not exist in a free and fair market, especially on the federal subsidies. They are completely subsidized by our federal taxpayer dollars. We in Oklahoma have had state level subsidies and exemptions in place for a long time. Some of that is starting to run out over the next year or two, but there will still be some exemptions left. But when you look at that kind of investment from a state taxpayer dollar perspective and the return that we've been getting on it, if we travel back to the years 2015 through 2019, the state invested a certain amount of money and in return got tax revenue that totaled a net loss to the state of over $250 million. That's a major issue.
On March 7th, 2026, hundreds of concerned citizens, including our interviewees, descended to the state capitol to rally against these proposed wind projects. Featured speakers, including Iowa Tribe Chairman Jake Keyes and CFACT President Craig Rucker, discussed the negative environmental impacts wind projects have on eagles and other bird species.
For many Native nations, the eagle is not just a bird. The eagle is sacred. So we must ask a simple question. How can we claim to honor the eagle while placing massive, spinning blades of death in the very skies that those birds must travel?
Person on our staff, former DOE official, who's looked into this, and he said the real figure is probably closer to 4.5 million birds and bats that get sliced and diced each year. And we're not talking sparrows and pigeons. We're talking gold eagles, bald eagles, condors out in California, or you have here an endangered species like the whooping crane in Oklahoma, all endangered from these wind turbines.
As we've documented in this series, wind energy is unreliable, costly, and not as environmentally friendly as advertised. While Oklahoma leaders see the light on wind shortcomings and pursue more reliable energy sources, that's our hope. Thanks for watching Conservation Country. If you liked this report, share it far and wide. Stay tuned for the next episode coming soon.